So I saw this story the other day and I thought, okay, better get ready. Netflix, obviously Amazon Prime, they become huge, huge industries right now. And I think everybody, just about everybody who had a Netflix account, despite those who said they were going to give it up, probably still does. But Netflix is, and I think of my own experience with Netflix, right? You turn it on and you're trying to find something that's worth watching and you scroll and you scroll and you scroll. But now there's a way to get around this, and this would be specifically for people who've decided, you know what, Netflix is not for me. Maybe this is your reaction to canceling something, that's US based. So now there's something called FAST TV, FAST. What is it? It's an acronym that stands for Free Ad-Supported Streaming Television. Now, it's not here yet, but it's going to be here because it's starting to happen in the U.S., and we know how these things tend to migrate. So let's try to find out a little bit more. Vass Bednar is Executive Director of the Public Policy Program at McMaster University to talk a little bit about this and what we can expect and what's going on right now. First of all, Vass, thanks so much for making yourself available today. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Hi.
Hi. So let me begin by asking, so Fast TV, this sounds like this is great. You get to watch TV as much as you watch. You don't pay for it. There's no subscription necessary. Why is this a concern, or why should it be a concern?
Well, it is definitely a throwback to the more familiar kind of cable experience, right? Always on, you turn on a channel, and that's something that fast TV platforms mirror, right? They have some channels that are 24/7. I know my mom likes to tune into Baywatch 24/7. This is like a joke we have with her. But these tools end up being an extension of the ad tech market that we see when we're online because, as you said, the acronym FAST, which isn't really catching on for them, they're totally supported by ads. You don't have to pay, which means we're paying with our attention and we're paying with our information. And we're also not necessarily seeing a uniform ad environment, which you and I used to see when we're back in that more familiar, it's often referred to as linear television. We all saw the same Chevrolet commercial, right? But now those ads can be micro-targeted to us based on characteristics that the platforms know about us, that we've either volunteered or that they've aggregated in data sets or, presumed about us based on our watching habits and things like that.
So what's the concern here? As we said off the top, the idea is it's like old school TV. You don't have to go searching for anything. It's on all the time. But the fact that we're being watched, right? That's the privacy concern here. How prevalent is that?
Well, if you've coupled up these platforms with a smart television, right, a smart device that has a camera in it or is also listening to kind of be voice activated, then you're adding on an additional surveillance layer. But back to ads, you can see ads in terms of taking a break from programming, and you can also see sponsored material that's inside of a TV show or movie. So sometimes television shows are being created now with, say, a cereal box in a shot that's blank because they're going to sell that to try to sell that space to different companies, and that can be revised in the future. It's partially a concern due to the unknowability, right? So political ad campaigns can also micro-target commercials to us, whereas we tend to see, say if we all tune into the Super Bowl, right, and a politician has purchased an ad, we're all going to see the same one in a cable context, right? But with this new kind of micro-targeting, we can see misinformation, false information perpetuated, just like we see that kind of noise and slop online. And that political element is one very real risk of these devices.
Yeah, I read somewhere in one of the stories that obviously political campaigns are going to spend, I think it was over $1 billion using these, sort of methods to reach eyeballs. That in and of itself is a bit concerning, obviously.
Yeah, and there's a view you can take that says, oh, well, this is very efficient in terms of ad spend, and you want to be able to target messages, sure, but we don't have high enough transparency or disclosure thresholds for those sorts of things. The CRTC is engaged or just wrapped up actually a public consultation where they're also thinking about kind of surveillance in TV and streaming and video games. So though I say in my piece that Canada hasn't had a similar conversation to what's, some of the policy, very rich and more prominent policy conversations that have taken place in the U.S., they are still, we're not totally blind to it. It just we haven't really come out in terms of what our position is.
Yeah, I'm guessing if this is making money, though, it's only a matter of time, as I said in the introduction, until this does come here, right? It's not something you can ignore.
Oh, you can. I mean, this kind of surveillance ads and the way we're seeing ads, you can access fast TV programs. We don't have a Canadian competitor, but if you're using something like Tubi or Roku, every time I say these words, I feel like I'm tricking myself because they're just not. I'm just sort of saying sounds, right?
But they're real.
Right,
they're real. Lots of people have Roku devices, right?
100%. And, Amazon's Freevee, that's something that's not available here. But, yeah, you're right. It's maybe not as popular or prevalent. I've certainly, many people have said to me, they're like, I've never heard this acronym, Fast TV. Like, no one calls it that. And I'm like, okay, but
great.
That's what
this is good. So now we have something beyond your speaker, your Google speaker, your Amazon Alexa listening to you as well on your TV set, assuming you have a smart TV. And of course, there are more of those being sold now as time goes by as well. So maybe consider that. I would point out the other thing in this, which is the fact that Netflix is not immune to this, right? They realize this is going on. I see they're starting to do more and more live programming as well. They know this is a potential, another big audience for them.
Oh, totally. I mean, and that's kind of, it can be really nice to have like a common cultural moment, right? But right now through Netflix, what is that? Through watching wrestling, right? Or live comedy shows. But again, Netflix knows a ton about us, right? You and I will see probably slightly different movie trailers calibrated on what our interests are. It'll tell us kind of a different story, our preferences. But Netflix, of course, tracks, if they can, what we gaze at, but how long, when we tune out of something, how long we're watching, what we're like, again, lots of that is from what's on the platform, but think of what Amazon Prime knows about you. Amazon Prime could basically say to an advertiser, yeah, we kept showing Vass that Fruit Loops ad, and we know that through her Amazon Prime, 3 days later, she bought like a jumbo box of Fruit Loops.
It's getting scarier by the minute.
Cool.
Okay.
It's scary and it's cool. It's sort of fascinating, but it feels dangerous because we're also just not really being clear about what the bargain is when it's free TV.
And we're finding all that after the fact, which is probably for some of us a little too late. Hey, this is fascinating. Vass, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Cheers. Thanks for having me.
Take good care.
Bye-bye.
So there you go. But that piece, by the way, is in the Globe and Mail if you're curious. Someone just texting in saying, hey, a lot of people are watching on these devices right now, right? Whether it's Pluto TV or Tubi TV, if you want to get away from subscription-based television, it's out there. And I'm sure there are plenty of Canadians on top of this.